Good evening all and welcome to another video on All Hail the Ale. It's Saturday night, it's lager time, and which one are we going for? It's this one. It is Infinite Session Pils. And as I'm sure you know from Infinite Session, it's alcohol free or 0.5% ABV to be fair. And it says on the back of the can, our craft lager is crisp and refreshing yet full of flavour. An original Pilsner brewed to give you everything you want from a lager and more. Or less in this case, because there's less alcohol and there's less calories, because there's only 39 in the can for those of us who are sort of caring about that thing. And per 100 ml, you've got 2.8 grams of sugar. So it's got some sugar if you're worried about that, but the usual ingredients are listed as water, malted barley, wheat, oats, hops and yeast. And yeah, it's brewed in the UK by Infinite Session in the East End of London, the good end of London. And they also say they believe that beer is bigger than booze. Drinking on your terms, it's unapologetically less alcohol, more hops, less hangover, all beer, no booze. So I've not had this one yet. I've had the IPA and their pale. And both of them are pretty good. So I've got high hopes for this one. I've really found a good few lagers from the alcohol-free world that are really quite good. And I'm hoping this one joins it. So it's the red band on the can if you've not seen it before. So let's get it out and into a glass and see what we think. So we're pouring into my Northern Monk glass. Get it in the right hand, or left hand as the case may be. So the pour is nice. It's got a really nice colour to it, and you've got a nice lively carbonation. Bit of an aggressive pour that, but nevertheless, a really good head for an alcohol-free beer. Let's not make no bones about that. So we have a beer that's got a little bit of fridge haze. It's a lovely sort of golden colour. It's got a few inclusions to suggest that it's unfiltered. And you have, like I say, a good solid 2 fingers of off-white head that's not particularly compact. It's quite light and fluffy. But yeah, that's your beer in a glass. Looks quite nice, doesn't it? You know, lovely colour, and the colour to me suggests a bit more flavour than those pale insipid beasties that you get on occasion. So yeah, unfiltered, nice colour. Let's have a whiff. Light on the aroma, but it is grassy, it is slightly hoppy, clean, refreshing, little bit of citrus, and there's almost that nice, yeah, it's that grassy hop. Like I say, a little bit of citrus on the back end of the aroma. Just as you get to that last little bit of inhale, it just sort of hits you. Nice and crisp. So, looks good, smells alright. Like I say, it's a bit light, but it's a nice aroma nonetheless. And that swirl indicates a decent body, and hopefully the oats that have been included are contributing to that body. It looks really quite good. You know, the way it just stabilises, looks really rather nice. So, go straight in. There is good body to it. There is a good body. The flavours are much like the aroma. They're quite light. It does taste like a lager, but it's slightly different. You've got a slight caramel malt thing going on. Which for me is not a bad thing. I like a caramel malt. It's not got that overly sweet, but there is a little bit of like a sugary sweetness, but it's not that ridiculously sweet crystal malt that you often get. I'm impressed by the body, I really am. It's very light, very refreshing. And that hint of citrus that I got on the aroma doesn't translate really into the flavour, which is a shame. That would have been a nice fresh addition. That said, it's a nice, clean, crisp, light lager. The finish is quite short and sweet, but it's also dry. It is dry, and I found that in a lot of alcohol-free lagers. They are quite dry on the back end, which, let's be honest, it's clean and crisp. I don't mind that. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Dangerously quaffable. You could happily knock quite a few of these back because it is nice and fresh. So there we go. Before I waffle too much, let's get into the scoring and go to the aid memoir from Untapped, which says the Infinite Session Pills got 435 check-ins and an average score of 2.4, which, in my experience, I have a feeling will be a little bit better than that. A little bit. Let's see. So, my usual 5 pillars of judgment are the looks, the aroma, the body, the taste, and the finish. And that's my board there. So we'll go for the looks first of all. Let's pour the remainder of the can, just so we can regenerate a little bit of that. It pours lovely. You've got that nice little surge of the carbonation to the top. It's a good looking beer. I cannot fault it. It's got a lovely colour, a nice head, even though it doesn't hang around for very long. I mean, it is an alcohol-free lager, let's be honest, but that's a bloody good looking one. It's going to get the full point from me. So, 1 so far. The aroma. I like a good aroma. It's light. It is crisp, clean, grassy, and a little bit malty. I'd like a little bit more of the grass and a little bit more intensity. Otherwise, it's nice. You know, it's a nice aroma. Could just do with being stronger. Like I said, a little bit more grassy. I'll give it the half on that one. The body, I really can't fault. You know, it's great. You know, those oats have worked wonders in lifting it and just giving it a little bit more of an unctuous mouthfeel, which you don't get a huge amount of in lager, and I think it benefits it. You know, sometimes they can be a bit thin, a bit light, and a little bit watery, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. I know it suits the style, but it's not my preference. And that one has got a nice sort of medium to medium heavy body, and the mouthfeel is nice as well. It's got beautiful sort of almost like chocolate milk type mouthfeel, so smooth, but you've got a little bit of carbonation just fizzing through it. It's really, really good. It's going to get the full point for me on the body. Taste is king, and like the aroma on this one, it is a little bit on the light side. You've got a hint of those grassy hops. You've got a little hint of the caramel malt, and that in fact dominates the hops. And the fact that it's light and it still manages to dominate the hops kind of gives you a clue that everything is quite light in general. That said, it's clean, crisp, inoffensive, quite nice. I just, again, same as the aroma, I just wish it was a little bit more intense. So I'm going to give it the same as the aroma, which is a half. So we are up to 3 points already. So I told you it'd be better. But what do I think of the finish? You know, on a lager, I'd never expect them to be particularly long. I just look for those hops to translate through and leave that kind of fresh, clean feeling in your mouth to make you wanting more. It is dry and it's sweet at the beginning. It's not long at all. And you don't get much of the hop, which is a shame. You get more of the malt than you do the hops. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame on that front. But that dryness does leave you wanting more. So I'm going to give it half on the finish as well, which, you know, it's really quite good. Overall, you got a 3.5 out of 5, which, yeah, you know, given that its average score is 2.4, is quite an achievement. So, yeah, would I buy it again? Yeah, I think I would, absolutely. It's one that it's light enough, fresh enough, clean enough to have with just about anything barbecuey, and it definitely see through the summer. So, speaking of which, I'm very much looking forward to that. It's a bit wet and windy outside, so let's hope for a few better months when we eventually come out of lockdown. And yeah, on that note, before I waffle too much, I'm going to say that's been the beer. I've been Nick. Down there are the buttons. You know exactly what to do with them. I'm not going to tell you this time. I'll leave it up to your imagination. Catch you again soon for another one. Bye.